Oh shit.
What's good, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Land Grant Podcast Network's I-80 Football Show. As always, I'm your host, Jordan, and I'm here with my co-host, Dante. Oh, Dante is not here.
What's up? I'm over here trying to fix this mess I got here.
Um,
Yeah, I had it all set up the wrong way.
oh,
Yeah. This episode we're live on stream. Let me make sure.
God. Well, while Dante is trying to figure that out, this would be a good time to remind you fine folks who spend somewhere between 60 and 90, but let's be honest, 90 minutes a week listening to this podcast. We are on YouTube now. You can see us on video. You can find us at Get Defensive Sports Network on YouTube, also on Instagram, and soon to be on TikTok. We have a TikTok, but I have TikTok be like, you can't change the name for like 30 days. So it was named something else, and I got to change it to that.
Yeah.
And for all the people on stream, because I know Dante got a lot of people on streams, even if you don't watch it on YouTube, you can go and you can like and you can subscribe so we can get some numbers up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if you do watch on YouTube, I do have another podcast that I do with another one of our friends that comes out as well. So you can find both of those on there. But either way, if you're listening to this, whether you're always going to listen on the podcast or not, whether you're on here because of Dante's stream or not, if you go through, you can like, you can subscribe, we can get some numbers up. We appreciate you at Get Defensive Sports Network on YouTube. Dante, how you living?
I'm all right. I'm doing good today. Crap. Being lazy, but I'm doing good. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. I just got my flu and COVID shot, so if I die, you know why.
Okay.
I'm just saying, if you don't hear from me next week.
Okay, fair enough. I don't think it's been doing that to people, but you know, if you do, that will be my first guess.
Yep.
And definitely. Then I might think about it more.
Yeah. No. It's funny because until COVID happened, I never got the flu vaccine, and now I feel like if you're gonna get one, you might as well just get both. So I do get both of them, but you know, I just want to put that out there. You know that people still be on social media saying it's killing folks. So, you know, either that or my wife, but I don't think she's gonna kill me. So flu vaccine. You know what I'm saying? That's where we're at. Anyway,
You're right.
Yeah, other than that, I'm doing all right. What are you doing for the holidays? What are you doing for Christmas? Are you doing anything for New Year's?
New Year's probably not, knowing me. Christmas, I'm going to try to go home.
Heard you.
For at least maybe couple days and see how that goes. But that's about it. I ain't got nothing planned. You got anything? Oops. Make sure so I know what's going on.
Not really. We're just staying here. We were gonna go home. I think I maybe already said this to you, but yeah, we were gonna go home, but it was dummy expensive and not even like regular holiday expensive. It was regular holiday plus inflation expensive, and not trying to do that, not at all. So we at the crib in New York. So it'll be our first Christmas up here, just doing something small, nothing too crazy. And then I think we're gonna do, because you used to come over when we were in Columbus. I think we may have some people over on New Year's. We didn't always do stuff for New Year's, but like we always have people over for various things.
Right.
And we were gonna go out, and there's a bunch of like parties and clubs and stuff that are doing things out here. And honestly, the prices aren't that bad, but we were trying to decide between like some of these things that are like more expensive and like come with like open bars and stuff like that versus like buying like one or two tickets to parties and like kind of bouncing around. But one of the places that we wanted to go is really far. And so it just didn't work out, like as far as like how we were wanting to do it. So we just said, fuck it, we're gonna do something at the crib. We're gonna try to be real cute with it. I think I think we're making like a drink or something. Something we saw on Instagram. Have a couple people over. Do something real
Okay.
chill.
That sounds cool.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Not
I'm
that
gonna
for at least New Year's, I have no clue.
Yeah,
But
I'm
I
gonna
got
pretend
anything.
I'm gonna pretend it's chill. Already already had this already told them like I'm gonna be watching football during this party because I don't like the guest list. But
Not that I don't like the guest list. That's crazy.
yeah, it is what it is.
Hey,
But no, it'd be cool. It'll be all right. Um, yeah, I don't know. I
yeah.
feel like I'm not in the. We do this every week, and I feel like for some reason today it sounds like we haven't done this in 3 weeks. I can't get my thoughts together, but we're gonna lock in. We're gonna lock in. It's funny though because we need to talk about this off the podcast. I was like, when I was making the show plan, I was like, yeah, we'll only talk about one bowl game because the way they're spaced out, we'll have an episode next week. But I'm like, are we gonna have an episode next week? We'll have to. I guess we could.
Christmas
We
is on
could. I
Wednesday,
guess we
correct?
could just. Yeah.
Mm,
I guess we could. If we do it early, we could still drop one on Thursday.
it had to be real early.
Like Monday or Sunday
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah,
something like earlier in the week.
yeah, yeah.
Because I'm off. Yeah, all right, yeah, yeah. We'll keep it how it is. We'll talk about the other ones. So in this episode, we have a. There's not really as much news.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll hit a couple things, and then to keep y'all interested in listening and coming back, we're not going to bore y'all talking about bowl games that's not happening for 2-3 weeks. We're just going to do them as they come up. So for this week, we only have one bowl game. We always say this is going to be a short show, and it's never a short show, but I actually think this one might be a short show because we have like 4 games to talk about, and that's it. The first thing in news, is not even Big Ten news. It's just Black people news, and we Black, so I want to talk about it. Michael Vick lands
Oh
the
yeah, yep,
Norfolk State job.
yep.
Funny thing about that, do you know? I'm not gonna say her name on the podcast. Never mind. That's crazy. Someone that you should know from Kent works at Norfolk State, and she's very excited that
Chat, chat,
yeah.
chat. That narrowed it
I
so
know. I'm gonna
far
text you. I'm
down.
gonna text you the name. I'm gonna text
Fair
you.
enough,
I
fair
know, but
enough.
I'm just like, I'm not just gonna be putting people's business out here that don't even
No,
know
that's
who
fair.
it is.
It's like,
But regardless, I think you know her.
mhm.
Either way, someone that we went to school with works at Norfolk State and was very excited about this. She's on the sports side of stuff.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Then,
Yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, Michael.
I think I know who you might be talking about.
I just texted you, but Michael Vick lands the Norfolk State job. I think that's cool. I think it's really interesting that a lot of like really big name either college or NFL players are getting these head coaching jobs. I don't even know if Michael Vick has any coaching experience. Like I don't know if he was like
Me
coaching before
neither.
or anything like that. But it's just cool, and it's at an HBCU. So like if you've never coached before, right, and you have leadership, and honestly, we've been talking about this more. Head coaching is really a CEO thing, right? And honestly, a lot of it has started to become like marketing as well. So like players are going to want to go there because it's Michael Vick, right? Like
Yeah,
so who knows if he's going to be good at it, but I think that's dope. Eddie George has been a coach for a while. He was a
that's true.
Michael Vick, like he not so much for the culture because he's a little older than that for our generation, but like Eddie George was like a Michael Vick style running, like he was super popular. He wasn't Vick.
No, no,
Vick was
no,
in
no,
his
no, no.
mom,
No. I'm trying
but
to think.
Eddie George has
Eddie
been at
George was right around the
Tennessee.
same time.
Was he?
Yeah,
He's not.
Michael
He's
Vick.
not
Hold on,
older
bro.
than that. I know
I
he's
don't think
old,
so.
but like
I don't think so. I'm about to Google right now for you, but I
okay.
think
But yeah, like Eddie George got a job at Tennessee State, I think, and he's doing really good there. Obviously, Dion got that job at Jackson State, so we're starting to see some of these people, and a lot of people like giving back to HBCUs and going back. So I thought that was dope. It's not Big Ten news, but shout out to Michael Vick, and I'm also glad, like that his life wasn't ruined by the dog fighting stuff. Whether you believe he did it or didn't do it, I think that's I think that's easily a mistake that you should be able to come back from,
oh, you're
unlike
right.
some
I,
other ones. He's older, yeah, like
yeah,
yeah.
96 to 2003 was it, or 2004 was his
when he was on the Titans.
NFL career.
Yeah, so like
Or
he was at
or
Ohio State in the early 90s.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
92 to 95. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Michael Vick retired a lot later. Yeah, I thought it was around the same time. I think they might have like did that.
Overlap, maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
Mhm.
So no, I just thought that was dope. Shout out to Vic.
Yeah. Shout out to Vic. I saw that the other day. I forgot what I was watching, but I was like, yo, he did get that. He landed another HBCU job. That was nice.
Yeah.
I have no clue if Vic has been coaching. I know he's been on TV, but I have
Right.
no clue.
Yeah, honestly, I don't care. It's Michael Vick. If you want to get into coaching, right? It's not like he got like the Florida State job or something big, right? If he wants to get into coaching, let him do it. Kids are gonna go there. That's big for that school. That's big for him. I hope it works. I hope he's good. But if anything else, he's gonna be a good ambassador, right? He's gonna get a name to them. He's gonna get some money into them. And they're in Virginia. He's from Virginia,
I believe so.
Like,
I believe so.
It's
I know
I'm not gonna say it's close to home because, right, like Virginia is a decent sized state, but he has roots in Virginia at least because he went to college there and stuff. So, yeah, is he from? Yeah, I think he's from Virginia. I think he's from Virginia, and he went to
News, Virginia.
Yeah, and he went to Virginia Tech, right?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yep. So, the other piece of this is not news. This is just kind of like a conversation. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of people, first of all, a lot of coaches are complaining about the college football calendar, and in some ways, they're right. But in other ways, I really just don't care because you're a multimillionaire and you can figure it out. Like there's a difference between like advocating for change, especially like actually getting into the room and coming up with a proposal and taking it to your athletic directors and to the board so that they can vote on it. That's one thing. Going in the media interviews and on Twitter complaining when you're making $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 million, you can really shut up. I don't care. Get over it. But like make a plan, right? I literally have a tweet that I'm going to read. It took me 2 minutes to come up with it, and I think it's a much better calendar. As much as they complain about it, they really could propose some things based on that because it does.
Is this the playoffs or like the whole season?
It's the whole thing.
Okay.
Because in December right now, right, you have which doesn't affect the coaches as much, but you have graduation, you have bowl games, you have the playoffs, you have the transfer portal. And a couple weeks ago, you had early signing day for recruiting. So, like for example, Ohio State, Indiana, Penn, all those teams, right? They're managing who's graduating. They're managing who's going into the transfer portal, trying to do recruiting visits for players coming in. They had to finish up their high school recruiting while also game prepping for the playoffs and all that kind of stuff.
Sounds like your job,
right? Your face is my thoughts. I get how that's a lot. You also have a big staff. My thing is, if you want to change it, propose something. That's it. So I'm going to propose what I think makes the most sense. I don't think it's going to happen because it makes the most sense. And even if it does happen, someone is going to pay some random like law firm or consulting firm $500,000 to come up with this, and it's literally the most common sense thing in the world. So I just want your thoughts on my proposed calendar change because I think it just makes so much sense. So the first one is just start the season a week earlier. So the season starts on Labor Day week, but we always have a few games the week before. Just start the season a week earlier. That's super easy to do because at least half the schools in the country start before Labor Day. There will be some schools, of course, that play a game before Labor Day, but I think almost all high schools play their first football game either the first week or school starts on Wednesday. Their first game's on Friday, so like that doesn't matter. And you're already playing games.
You're already there anyway,
right? So start it a week earlier. If you did it a week earlier, then the next step is to have the first round of the playoff happen a week after conference championship games. Right now, it's 2 weeks later. So 3 weeks after the season starts. That's insane. And then right now, as we'll, there's a bunch of 8 to 14 day breaks in between the college football playoff calendar. Again, the first round is 14 days after conference championship games. The second round is exactly 10 days, 10 or 11 days actually after the first round, because the first round's on the 21st. Then the second round starts on the 31st, and then it's also on the 1st. and then there's another like 8 or 9 days. So make everything 7 days, just no more 8 to 14 days, except for the national championship. So based on the calendar, if they did that this year, right, conference championships games would have been November 30th.
Mm-hmm.
The first round would have been December 7th. The second round would have been December 14th. So as of the day that
We
this is dropping, we would
we
be
would
going into
have
the third
the
round.
round. Yep.
The third round would be December 21st.
Mm-hmm.
And then the championship game would be New Year's Day.
Yep.
And then because a lot of coaches want the transfer portal to not open till the season's over, but you can't do that right now. If the season ended on New Year's Day, then the transfer portal is open from January 2nd to the 10th. A lot of schools start around the 15th. Some start even later. Like my school that I work at starts after Martin Luther King Day.
Mm-hmm. A
So
lot
we
of
start.
schools, I think a lot
A
of
lot of
schools
schools
start.
do. Some don't. Some
Start.
start early, but a lot do. So
Yeah.
we start like January 22nd. So right, it closes on the 10th. That's essentially 2 weeks to get players. It's really 3 weeks. If you go from the 2nd to the 22nd, right, it's 3 weeks. But it's 3 weeks to get players on campus in the portal, to get their financial aid signed and to get them on campus.
Yeah.
It took me like 5 minutes. Not even 5 minutes to think about that. So it's
And
just like,
also, what that also does is that prepares even more, I would say, coaches. Not only that, but coaches, players, and things like that prepared for the next step if they want to go to the NFL, because you follow that kind of pattern, because right around then is when the season ends, regular season ends for the NFL. Then you have the playoffs right around January, in the middle of January into February.
yeah.
So by that time you're at least used to the regular season. Now you just got to get used to the playoff if you're on a playoff team as a rookie or whatever. But
Yeah.
you're used to finishing in December.
Yeah. And then
And starting right around that time. And you start before NFL anyway.
Yeah, they do. They start before the NFL anyway.
Yeah.
And then so then the other thing it would do is it essentially it puts everything before the second semester starts, which is how it should be. The other thing that they could consider, which I think they should do, is early signing day should be in August.
Okay.
And then you go back to the traditional signing day in February. So essentially what happens is the people who sign in August, they'd be signing before their senior year. It's not going to be as many people, right? But it's going to be the ones that's locked in. You're going to want your quarterback, right? If you're Ohio State, most of your Ohio commits, like, right? If you're Bama, most of your Bama. If you're Florida, most of your Florida. Like, your local commits from your state who, like, I'm going here, like, this is my dream school. Those types of players are going to go. Maybe you get a couple of 5 stars, whatever. They're going to come in August before their senior year. They're going to shut down the recruitment. A lot of players already have been complaining about, right, like they commit in July and then their whole senior year people are calling them, and those players are locked in, right? So it's the players have to be like cognizant that that's really what they want to do. And if they don't, you get more time to figure it out, because you just do the regular one in February, which still exists, almost just no one uses it.
Yeah.
And so that separates the calendar, right? Early signing days in August. Transfer portal starts after the New Year's.
Yep.
The college football schedule is late August through New Year's.
Yeah.
It's so simple, but I don't trust any of them to do it because they're fucking idiots.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just gonna complain and get something else. Hello, Leah, talking about football nerds. But yeah, I think they're just gonna complain because it is simple. And my thing is like, even what they have now, do your job.
Especially because you have so much staff.
Yeah, do your job.
I mean, you have 10 coaches. That's just the coaches. You have a whole recruiting staff. You have a whole administration staff. A bunch of people are doing college GMs now. You have the staff to manage these things. And if you hire the right people, really, as a coach, all you need to do is be there at the visit, right? You can have, like, maybe you send a couple text messages, right? But someone else is you can't tell me the coaches are the ones buying the plane tickets, right? Like, you're not buying the plane tickets.
No, not at all.
You're not doing
not
that
at all.
And I've worked in colleges. You have other people are putting in their weekly film and doing, like, you're not even doing that. All you're doing is watching the film, saying, yes, I want this player. No, I don't. And then you can have somebody, like, you could make this schedule work.
Because
I do
the
get,
only thing I would get is like if they were being advocates for maybe smaller schools, then you know what, I give you that maybe,
but they
but
never cared about
they're
the
not.
smaller schools in
Yeah,
their lives.
they're not thinking about that. Yeah.
And the last thing that I like about this, for the smaller schools and for the teams who are not going to bowl games, your season ends before Thanksgiving.
Oh, so you have plenty of time. You're right.
So, like, your season ends the week before Thanksgiving. So, boom, you go home for Thanksgiving. You get to spend time with your family. You move all the bowl games up a couple of weeks as well. And so, a lot of the bowl games end before Christmas. So, you're not like, let's see.
Yeah, for the
So,
players, they get to go home for Christmas. A lot of the
yeah.
players get to go home for Christmas. Yeah, yeah.
So Rutgers plays the day after Christmas. USC plays December 27th. Nebraska plays December 28th. All those schools, they're not getting Christmas. They're not getting Christmas. They're going to be practicing, right? They're going to, so like all those will be moved up. All the players get Christmas. The ones who don't, and I
Now,
know,
as coaches and all those staff and stuff get to go home for Christmas.
yep. And Dante, I know
Mhm.
this is naive. I know this is naive
Mhm.
because nobody cares about academics. But as someone who works in higher education, I do have to say this. If the season ends before Thanksgiving, your players get 3 weeks to prepare for finals. I know. I understand. That is stupid of me to pretend that academics matter in college. But
College
for those
sports, but
players,
yeah.
especially who aren't going to the playoffs, who your season ends, you get a
You
couple.
want to transfer, but you have to have a certain GPA.
Yeah, you get a couple weeks. You get a couple weeks to be a normal student.
Hmm.
I know we don't care about that, but I'm just saying it makes so much sense.
And even if it isn't about the education part, you get a couple weeks to be a regular student.
Yeah, to like go on campus to see
Hmm.
somebody, like to breathe, like
Hmm.
it makes too much sense for it to happen. But I did there's been a lot of discourse about it, and
Yeah,
so I was just like, this is easy. Boom.
yeah.
I would love if
It
they
could
did
be
it.
extremely simple, but yeah, of course.
Yeah. And like it would be like this is first world problems, but it would be nice to like college football ends, then you only have the NFL playoffs, and then you like that smooth transition. Like I'm super excited for the playoffs, but like I'm looking at the calendar. There's games on like Tuesday and
Hmm.
Thursday and like weird
Hmm.
stuff and
There's an NFL game every day during Christmas week, I think.
that's insane. I this
I think the only days aren't is Thursday and Friday, but
yeah.
then you have Sunday. So and I think there's a Saturday game. I think there's
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday for the NFL too. So like
There is. I think that starts this week. And even like stuff with like so like my wife was like, "Oh, we should do something on New
it
Year's
does
Day."
start this way. We played the Ravens Saturday.
Yeah, yep. My
Mhm.
wife was like, "We should do something on New Year's Day," and I was like, "Okay, hear me out." She was like, We can go at like 2 o'clock so we can like sleep in." I was like, "Could we do like noon?" And she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Well, if if Ohio State wins, they're gonna play at 5, so like I would like to be back home by 5." And she just sighed. So it's just like it's like right, like, but this like that's a second round playoff game. In this calendar, the
Yep.
football season, like that would be the championship game
Mhm.
on New Year's Day. And it's like, listen,
Mhm.
we get New Year's Eve, New Year's Day is a championship game, and then football's over. We got 20 more days. The championship is like January 20th. Like, yeah, it's stupid. So um ultimately, I don't feel bad for the coaches. Y'all make millions of dollars. But if we're gonna make the change,
That's the most
I
simple
did
one.
it for you. It
Start a
makes
little
sense.
early. Start a little
Start
early.
early and make the game 7 weeks. Oh, last thing, and then we'll take a break. Half the reason that the games on like Thursday and Friday and like all of that sort of stuff is they don't want to interfere with the NFL because the NFL starts playing Saturday games on this weekend. What did we say again? If we did the calendar I just came up with, we'd be on the third round playoff game this weekend, and then there wouldn't be another game till New Year's. You also wouldn't interfere with the NFL calendar,
And
which
also,
personally,
you already are.
right, but college football, but NFL doesn't play on Saturday until now. So half the playoff games aren't on Saturday because now they happen during the NFL playoffs. But if we do the one that we're doing that we just talked about, you would finish the 3 rounds of the playoffs before the NFL starts playing Saturday games. So
Mhm.
you wouldn't, which I don't care about NFL interfering with the playoffs, with the NFL playoffs, but what because it's not even the playoffs, this is the end of the regular season. I don't
It's
care
just the
about
end of the regular
interfering with the
season. Yeah.
NFL, but this would firmly take you off the NFL's radar. So you would get your whole postseason done essentially before the NFL playoffs even started. So you don't have to worry about losing those viewers or whatever they're concerned about.
Mm. Yeah, that if that's a silly concern because you literally already kind of interfere. In a way, you already kind of interfere
Yeah.
because how the NFL is about to do next week and how you do your games, it's football overload.
Yes.
Because I've already watched 2 football games anyway. I've already watched 2 bowl games
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
over the
So
past 2 days. So like, and I know there's a game on tonight. There's probably on right now.
probably, honestly, yeah.
Mhm.
West Virginia was on yesterday at 9 o'clock. I'm like, why is this on like a random
Mhm.
Tuesday?
And I
Nine
watched
o'clock.
Memphis, West Virginia. I watched that.
Yeah.
I watched the second half of that game.
Almost killed myself with some water. I watched the first half. I didn't watch the second. I should have watched the second half. The
Second
game
half
got
was,
good.
yeah, the second
I
half was
turned it
good.
off because it looked
Yeah.
like West Virginia was about to get blown out.
No,
I didn't want to watch that.
they made a push. They made a push.
Yeah, I should have believed in my guys.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's funny that people who don't know me or who like randomly come in and they're like, "Isn't this dude Ohio?" Like I'm wearing an Ohio State hat, and they're like, "Why the hell is he rooting for West Virginia?" I graduated from there. Don't ask me any questions. But it is funny because I know people be looking at my Twitter like, "Why the hell is this dude talking about West Virginia?" It doesn't make any sense. All right, so we're gonna take a quick break, and when we get back, we will get into the one bowl game that we're gonna talk about. We'll get into our playoff preview, and then we'll get out of here. So we will be right back after the ads for the folks listening on the podcast platform. What's good, everybody? Welcome back into Land Grant Podcast Network's I-80 Football Show. As always, I'm Jordan. I'm here with Dante, and we just fixed the college football calendar, even though they're not going to listen to us.
I mean, if anything, it should be the most. Somebody should have already had that plan if they were going to complain about this.
Truly.
If they were going to really complain about this, they knew this was coming up. They knew this was coming up.
Yeah.
We knew we were going to get to 12 teams at some point.
Yep.
We've known for 4 years, actually. So,
and the one bowl game that we're going to briefly mention, Rutgers plays Kansas State the day after Christmas on December 26th, of course, the day after Christmas. They play at 5:30. I'm guessing let me pull up I'm guessing there's a bunch of games that day because otherwise I don't know why that game's at 5:30.
It probably is a few games on that day.
Yeah. I will be watching. I'll be watching. I don't really have any feelings about this game because I didn't watch a whole lot of Kansas State. I know Kansas State was supposed to be good, and then they kind of struggled a little bit, and then they
like pulled it up at the end.
Yeah, it was kind of a up and down thing, but but ultimately that's the same exact thing that happened to Rutgers, and so I don't know if Rutgers is going to show up, but what I will say is if they do show up, and I think they will, and the reason why I say that is Rutgers won 7 games, if I remember correctly. And that means if they win, they are going to win 8 games for the first time in a very long time.
That's what I was about to go look at.
Like early 2000s. It was early 2000s the last time that they won 8. Also, you are 100% right. There's a game on right now. Washington is playing JMU, and then UNLV plays Cal at 9.
There's 2 games today. Wow.
Yeah,
and they're all bowl games. We're all bowl games.
Yeah, yep.
You have games every day.
Every day. Yeah. So, But yeah, so Rutgers went 7-5, and it's one of those things where it's like their season didn't go the way they hoped because they looked like a team that could win 8 or 9 games. They lost a shocking game to UCLA, which would
Yeah,
have made them 8-4.
yeah.
But at the same time, 7-5 this year. This was the first time that they had won 7 games in a regular season in like 10 to 20 years. So it was still a good season for them. It's hard to say that they didn't exceed expectation, but they didn't meet the hope level, right? Like looking at their schedule and looking at their team, you thought 8 or 9 wins could
Mhm.
potentially be in order. They went 7-5, but if they beat Kansas State, who went 8-4 in the Big 12, that 8 wins is still there, and that 8 wins would be huge for them.
Yeah. You said since what, early 2000s since they won 8 games?
Yeah, I can tell you for sure.
Oh,
I'll look it up really quick, but it's been
they
early
they
2000s.
should be. I didn't watch a single Kansas State game, and if I did, it was definitely on accident, and so I wasn't paying attention. It
There's
was probably
there's
it
so
was
many games
probably
I
in one of
definitely
the
didn't watch.
corners, like probably one of
Yeah,
my four corners, and like I wasn't paying attention in the slightest. Um,
they really weren't super interesting for me.
yeah, I think Rutgers probably could pull out an 8 win season in a bowl victory, and because Big Ten hasn't. That's the first Big Ten bowl game, right?
Uh yes, yep,
Okay, so I think that would start it off for the Big Ten. I
yeah,
think Rutgers pulls it out for. They played tough. They're a
yeah.
really tough team anyway.
2014.
Ah, okay.
So
10
not
years
early
ago.
2000s. Early
10 years ago.
2000s was a
Okay.
bit aggressive, but it was
Yeah.
still a decade. Still a
Yeah.
decade.
Decade, I guess.
Um,
That is kind of crazy to go a whole decade without winning eight,
at least
7 to
eight,
8.
yeah,
Yeah.
8 out of 13. Since seven, yeah. I mean, they haven't won 7 since 2014.
Mm.
So even 7, like this is their best season in a decade, and they
Yeah.
have a chance to make it even better.
They played in a bowl
Last
game
year,
last year, right?
yeah, and so
Mm.
last year they went 7-6, but they
Mm-hmm.
went 6-6 in the regular
Regular
season.
season.
So that's
Yeah.
why this season was a step better because they
Mm.
won 7 games in the regular season. So now they have a chance to go to win 8.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
And build on that momentum of already being bowl winners too. So yeah, I truly do believe Rutgers was that. Who did they play last year? Because I wonder if it was Kansas State. Because I feel
No,
like that happens a few
they
times.
played like Miami or it was someone in the ACC. I'm pretty sure.
Because that sometimes happens a lot. I feel like what was it? Utah faced what's her
Uh,
name in that one in the Rose Bowl or something a few
oh
times.
yeah, they were in the Pinstripe Bowl.
Mm.
They played. Oh yeah, it was Miami. They played Miami.
Mm. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they did beat Miami in that.
yeah, yeah. They
Yep,
beat
I
Miami.
remember that now. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Speaking of the Pinstripe Bowl, I'm going to that this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Nebraska's
Who?
in it.
Ah, okay. I was gonna say
It's
who
the
was in it.
Nebraska Boston College. Yeah,
That should be a good one. That
it
should be a
should
good
be
game.
that game. It's in
No,
for those of
their
you.
Nebraska's quarterback is still hurt, correct?
No,
No, okay.
it shouldn't be. It's been a couple of weeks. Like, but even when he was like, he was limp. He was a little, but like he was still playing. He didn't miss
Mhm.
games. So,
Oh, okay.
but I think maybe it makes Boston College quarterback got hurt, and
Okay.
then he got benched, and then he transferred mid-season. So he had a roller coaster.
I know. I do. I don't know if it was. Maybe I'm getting my Big Ten red teams incorrect.
If you're thinking a Big Ten team, you're thinking Wisconsin.
Okay, because I know a quarterback got hurt. I just
Yeah,
don't know if
Wisconsin.
it was
There are like a shit ton of red teams in the Big Ten. This is
more than half, I believe, are red, have red or red and white in some form or fashion.
So just off the top of my head, it's Ohio State, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Indiana, Nebraska. So that's 5. There's got to be more than that.
I'm
So
trying
Michigan
to
State, not
think.
Michigan, not Michigan State. Illinois is orange. They're not red.
Yeah, I know there's more. If
Purdue
not,
is
if it's
black
not,
and something. Iowa's not. Minnesota's not. Maybe is it just those 5?
it might be those 5, but then yeah,
And then half the other ones have some form of blue.
red, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's a red and blue conference. You know, they banging, tripping and shit. Um,
But like at least well, and if you were just to go and have some red in their uniform or in their colors, then it's more than half of the Big Ten has red in some form.
yeah, definitely. Um, all right, so yeah, that's what I have for that. I think I'm gonna predict Rutgers to win it. I think they're gonna
I
want to
think
win it.
I
I
think
think that they're
Rutgers pulls
going
it off.
to.
Yeah.
This is gonna mean a lot to them to get to 8 wins, and I think that Greg Schiano is gonna know that history and say that. This is a quick preview for next year. This is not a Big Ten team, but we mentioned Boston College. I think Boston College is going to be really good, and in the next 2 or 3 years, they're going to win the ACC. For those of you who don't
Okay.
remember or just don't know, Bill O'Brien is the head coach at Boston College now, and
Mhm.
everyone forgets how good of a coach Bill O'Brien is because he fucked up and tried to be Bill Belichick and tried to be the GM of the Texans. But if you look at when he was at
He
Penn
was
State,
really, really bad
he was a
at
bad GM.
Houston.
But when you look at when he was at Penn State, you look at Houston before he got the GM title because he wasn't the GM originally. Those
Mhm.
first couple of years when Houston was good and they were winning the AFC South before he got the GM title, and then you look at when he was Alabama's offensive coordinator, he's won everywhere he's went. And so he's already has Boston College in one of their better seasons. They're back in the bowl game. And then he's also a good recruiter. He just landed a borderline 5-star quarterback from Alabama that he recruited when he was at Alabama, who hit the transfer portal. So this dude, borderline 4 or 5-star, like had a whole bunch of hype when Nick Saban recruited him through
Yeah.
Bill O'Brien. He's now going to be Boston College's quarterback. And Boston College was already fun to watch. Their quarterback just couldn't throw. So now you're going to give him supposedly a quarterback who can throw, a quarterback that was highly rated and is still young that he's probably going to have for 2 or 3 years.
Probably 2, yeah.
Yeah,
That
I think
might
they're going
be
to do something.
interesting. They might be
I
interesting.
think they might do something. So, all right. Well, you want to get into our playoff preview?
Yeah, we could do that.
All right. So I have to stay true to what I wrote because I wrote an article about this.
Mm.
But I want you to go first because I already wrote out my thing, so I already know what I'm going to say. So let's start with Indiana Notre Dame because that's the first one. That game is happening on Friday. It is the only game on Friday, and that
Ooh.
is this Friday. So tomorrow, as you all are listening to this, and for those of you who aren't good with geography, Indiana and Notre Dame are both in Indiana. So
Mhm.
I don't know the history as far as like how much of a rivalry it is. I know like Purdue and Notre Dame have like a rivalry. I don't know how much Indiana works into that, but you're still playing for state pride, right? You're
Yeah,
still,
there's still an
public versus
in-state. Yeah.
private, all of that kind of stuff. So that's a little bit added to that game.
Okay, so this is an interesting game. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, all three are. All three
Yeah,
are very interesting games. But I'm gonna Indiana and Notre Dame might be the most because Indiana can put up points at any point.
yep,
Like they score. They'll put up 50 on you in a heartbeat and you won't even know what hit you. But Notre Dame can score a good amount too, and they play pretty good defense. Um I think this would be the probably third or fourth best defense Indiana's going to see this season. You played Ohio State, you played Michigan, which I think Michigan somehow has a better defense than Notre Dame on
right,
at least with the eye test. Um, the numbers might not back me up, but the eye test, at least from what I've seen, especially what they did against Indiana and
right.
Ohio State, uh, yeah, it has. So you had them, and then I forgot who else Indiana might have played this season, but so third or fourth best defense you've seen. You usually put up about a good amount of points on anybody you play. I believe in Notre Dame's coach. I do. I still think Indiana pulls this out though by two
Yeah,
touchdowns for real.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame somehow slips up twice.
Okay,
Yeah. Because
okay.
Indiana plays good defense too.
Yeah,
Like, don't get me
yes.
wrong, they're really really good on that.
Indiana may be the best defense Notre Dame has
Dame
faced.
has that's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying. Uh, and I've only seen Indiana panic one time this season, and even then it wasn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame's offense, especially that I've seen panic early
Mm-hmm.
in games. They pull it out usually, but those are against lesser teams.
Yep.
What was it? They play USC.
Yeah, and
They
USC
struggled.
was in that. Yeah, they did. They
Yeah, they
ended up winning by
struggled.
14,
Yeah.
but there was a large portion of that game where it looked like USC could win that game.
So this is a bigger stage. Indiana has had their big stage game. They probably thought they were going to get another one, but they didn't. So they didn't perform that bad on that big stage against Ohio State. This game,
It's just kind of spiraled, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the redemption game. I think this might be the redemption game, especially if there's a chance you get your real redemption and go against Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't disagree. The only thing, and I won't even say I disagree. I was just a little surprised by the score. This is what I would say. I think Indiana could. I think Indiana could blow out Notre Dame. I do not think Notre Dame could blow out Indiana.
No.
So I have a close game, and basically my analysis, like you, I agree with everything you said. My analysis on this game is literally one thing: the two teams that have made Indiana struggle, Michigan and Ohio State. They did it for one specific reason. Both of them dominated Indiana's offensive line and hit their quarterback. Anyone else, no matter how good the defense was, if you did not literally physically hit the quarterback.
Is it Indiana's quarterback that's hurt?
He got hurt early and then he played. He had a thing with his thumb. But he played most likely. I think he missed maybe one game.
He's not currently injured.
Not that I know of. It's got to be Wisconsin because he was out for the season.
Yeah, but that kind of it like happened maybe like a few weeks ago.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Am I tripping? I might be tripping. I'll look it up, but I might be tripping.
Yeah. So those are the only ones that did it, and they still found a way to beat Michigan. I think this is going to kind of resemble the Michigan. But the thing is, so Notre Dame is decently like a smash mouth football team on offense, but I haven't seen that same level of like toughness on defense. And so they're going to try to out tough Indiana on offense. But the thing is, if you can't out tough them when you're on defense, I think they're going to be hard to beat.
Yeah.
And so, like you said,
especially Indiana has big playability.
Yes.
And Notre Dame will give up a big play. I've seen it.
So. Yep. And Notre Dame, their best player, their corner, who's going to be like one of the second or third corner taken off the board, has missed most of the season. So they're down in the secondary too. So it's like this game more than anything really hinges on one thing for me. If Notre Dame cannot do what Ohio, and it doesn't have to be to that level, but if they cannot do what Ohio State and Michigan did, which is get a lot of pressure on the quarterback and just mess up that offensive line and hit the quarterback, they're going to lose. Because if
I will say this,
he's going to connect and they're going to score.
Yeah, so I'm going to say this: they haven't played since. When's the last time Indiana played?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. It's going to be 3 weeks from now.
Notre Dame hasn't played in 3 weeks either, though.
No.
Oh,
right. 3 weeks to understand what your weakness is.
Yep.
3 weeks. You watch those two games for 3 weeks, and you especially watch the Michigan one because how'd you pull it out? How'd you win the game? For 3 weeks. Now I know Notre Dame's doing the same thing, but you've been legit dominant and flawless, even when you not flawless but dominant, and you found a way to win games, especially with the Michigan one. So what for 3 weeks, especially since I do think Indiana has the better coach. I do still think
quarterback.
Yes. I think they have the better offense in general.
Yep.
So
Notre Dame has the better running back, but I mean that's not negligible.
But the thing is, like, Indiana, I'll tell you, Indiana did it to Michigan too.
Yeah,
and they did it to Ohio State too. So they were able to. They got in the backfield and stopped the run as well. So
yep.
And again, if we're going to talk about that, you've already probably faced one of the best in the country since you went against Ohio State, one of the best running games in the country.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not really worried about Notre Dame. Like I'm worried, but when it compares to that, I'm prepared.
Yep.
I think Indiana pulls this out. It's not an away or a home game for any team anyway.
No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that I was you've like I agree with everything that you're saying. Only thing that I wish that I could change is that in my article that I added I my score prediction was 21-24.
Okay.
I still think it's probably going to be a close game, but I could definitely see Indiana like um I could definitely see Indiana kind of getting to
I
the two
think
scores that you're talking about.
I think I
Uh,
think I think this could be a bigger score than what you think, and that's
well,
why
that's
I
the
give
thing.
you.
Like, I'm starting to change my mind, but when I
Mm-hmm,
wrote this on Tuesday,
mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know. Notre Dame is sort of physical on offense, and it's a playoff game, so I try to keep the score close, but I may be wrong on that. Either way, I think Indiana
Yeah,
wins.
like one or two touchdowns. My lowest 35-28, something like that. That's one touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 35, if not 42-28.
Oh wow, you think they'll put up 42?
I think Indiana could put up they've put up 50 multiple times.
Yeah, yeah,
like 42 points would not surprise me for Indiana. They've done
yeah.
it multiple times.
And I would say the last thing I have to say on Notre Dame is the two, in my opinion, the two most talented teams that they played are Louisville and USC. USC has a dog shit coach and still was in that game.
Was in the game.
Louisville spotted them 14 points within like the first 2 minutes of the game. Literally, I'm not joking. Maybe it
Mhm.
was 5, but I think they fumbled a kickoff return and then
Damn.
threw like a pick six or an interception or something, and then lost that game by 7 points. So like if Louisville didn't just like crap the bed in the first and give them literally
21.
14 points,
21.
they would have won.
They might have routed them by 21.
So because they once they got in the game, they got in the game, and it
Yeah.
was just you spotted a team 14
And
points.
again, I tell you now, if I don't know if Indiana play USC, Indiana would beat USC
Yeah.
and would probably smash them.
Yep. So
So
and of all of the and I would have to pull up Notre Dame's schedule, but I'm fairly positive Curtis Rourke is the best quarterback that Notre Dame's going to see as well. And
mm,
like everyone keeps telling me the the Army and the Navy, those are fake wins. I'm sorry. I don't care what they did. Army and Navy aren't good teams when you talk about this level of talent, right? Like when you're talking about Notre Dame, Ohio State, Alabama, like these schools, Army Navy is never going to win. So yeah, they blew them out, but like that's not impressive.
yeah, yeah.
All right,
You're
so we both
supposed to
have
believe
Indiana.
that. Yeah.
Let's move on. SMU, Penn State. What do you got?
All right, so I haven't seen any SMU games at
Oh,
all this
really?
season. Yeah, not a single
SMU's
one.
fun.
Are they? I believe you. I haven't seen a single one this season, so I don't. I don't know. I didn't even watch
Okay.
that last game where they won the what was it? ACC.
They ended up losing. Okay, so
Oh,
I'll take this one. I'll take this one.
okay.
So
They're in the
SMU,
ACC, right? Though.
yeah, yep.
Okay, okay, okay. I had to
So
make sure.
yeah, SMU started the season like awful, and it's like they had a whole lot of like hype, and it was weird. They're doing this two quarterback system, and then they sat their returning starter for like a redshirt freshman, like a young guy, and they have been good basically ever since. They won, I think they're 11-1. They won a whole bunch of games. They were the first team to secure they're the first team to secure the ACC.
Okay.
They have the sixth ranked scoring offense and 27th in scoring defense. 27th is top third, top, quarter.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
actually, top quarter, top half, top quarter. I don't know
Hmm.
why I said half. That doesn't even make sense. Top quarter of the country, 27 out of 132 teams. That's good, right? Like when you say
Yeah.
27, especially if you're used to the NFL, you're like, oh God, that sucks. No, no, no.
Mm-mm.
That's
That's really good.
27 out of 130. So they have a better defense than you think,
Right.
but they have one of the best and most fun. I was going to say funnest, most fun offenses, but it's also pretty sound, right? As far as like how it's coached and what they do.
They're okay. They're
So
disciplined with their fun. That's fair.
yes,
That's scary. Actually, that's
yes,
terrifying.
they're a hard team to stop. And
Mhm.
the one thing that I keep thinking about is so they lost to Clemson, but
Mhm.
Clemson won that game by kicking a 56-yard field goal.
Okay.
Clemson, that was the longest field goal in Clemson's history. SMU, similar to what we were just talking about with Louisville, this is the first year in the ACC. They make the ACC championship game, and it's big bad Dabo and Clemson. And we understand that Clemson's not as good as we used to be, but you're SMU, you're facing this like multi-time national champ, all this thing, right? And I think the lights were too bright for a quarter and a half. I think Clemson goes up like 17,
Mm-hmm.
and then SMU comes back and ties the game. So for the 2.5 quarters, they dominated Clemson. I don't know how much better Penn State is than Clemson. My point of bringing this up is if you can dominate Clemson for 2.5 quarters, take a game where you were down by 17, maybe 21, come back and tie the game, and they have to kick a 56-yard field goal to beat you instead of going to overtime. And if they would have went to overtime, they were going to win that game. You can hang with Penn State.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone has been doing this thing with Penn State, saying Penn State has the easiest path and they're guaranteed 2 wins. And I'm just like, first of all, their coach is still James Franklin. He loses these games.
They do not have an easy path.
But also, right, like a lot of people just didn't watch SMU, and so much analysis is named. Penn State, SMU, Penn State's going to blow them out. And I'm here to say Penn State may win the game, but it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight.
I was gonna say that probably Penn State has to do the grind it out type of game. You have to have the ball for a much longer time than SMU does, and you have to also finish those drives with touchdowns, not field goals, which Penn State's able to do. They're interesting, especially with their play calling, but it takes a long time. I've noticed 6-7 minute drives, and then you're like touchdown. That if you play your game, you're gonna win the game.
Yeah. So the thing is, though,
and you got to get off the field as defense. That's the problem.
Yeah. So I actually disagree with you, though. I think if Penn State plays the way that you're talking about, they're going to lose.
Really?
They need to recreate the Oregon game.
Okay.
Where they scored 37 points.
Okay. That's
whatever they did in Oregon. Repeat, clone it, because I'll tell you now, my final score
is their quarterback healthy. Didn't he get hurt in that game?
Did he? I don't. Did he? I couldn't tell you. I'm not even gonna lie.
Game.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Even if he did, he has to be healthy because Penn State's backup quarterback is in the transfer portal and is not going to play.
Oh, yeah.
So even if he did get injured, he's playing this game because otherwise they wouldn't let the backup quarterback leave before the playoffs is over.
True.
So, yeah. So my score prediction for this game is Penn State 38-34.
Okay.
I think Penn
State. I would
say
37-34.
Yeah. But so for me, hold on.
That was 4. I want to say what came from that game. Oh well. Okay.
How do you get to 37?
Didn't they put up 37 in Oregon?
Oh, it's 4 touchdowns, 3 field goals.
Yeah.
I have 5 touchdowns, 1 field goal. 30, 38, 37, something like that. Yeah.
5 touchdowns from Penn State is asking a lot.
Yeah, but that's why. but I said to win the game, they have to do what they did to Oregon. It's not easy, but they're gonna have to do it. They're gonna have to figure out a way. Man, this one's hard because if I wasn't on a Big Ten podcast, if I wasn't a fan of the Big Ten, and I didn't want all 3 Big Ten teams to win, and I'm trying to be as fair with the analysis, even with that in my mind, I may have picked SMU.
Yeah, but I'm not mad at it.
A lot of that colored. It's a small pinch of that is like wishful thinking.
I think the upset might be the next game. I think that might be where it comes from for the Big Ten. Now, it's these two games. I'm telling you that right now. It's either of these two games. It's this game, Penn State is SMU, because I do think SMU probably could win. Again, I haven't watched any SMU, but I saw the highlights from that last game against Clemson, and I was like, damn, y'all should have won that game. Like, I wish I would have won that game, especially since it was Clemson. Like, please.
Yeah.
But, so I think it could be that game. I don't think Clemson is that much. I don't think Clemson is better than Penn State at all, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
To be quite frank, I just don't think. I think SMU is a better team than Clemson. They just got
the lights were too bright
for a second.
A quarter and a half. The lights were too bright for a quarter and a half.
So, because I even went into that, I remember going, I was like, oh yeah, Clemson's losing that game. And I didn't know why I knew that, because again, I never watched a SMU game this season, but Clemson should lose this game. And I must have known something. I do think, I think it could, the Big Ten upset could be this game. I think it's leaning towards the next one we're going to talk about, though. I do think Penn State pulls it out in a scary one. I think sadly SMU probably loses the exact same way. Last minute field goal.
Yeah. So okay, damn, sometimes my memory be on it. They were down 17 and a half.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
Yeah, they were down 17 and a half.
So they
tied the game.
So they pretty much doubled their scoring for the second half, pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. They outscored. Honestly, yeah, it was basic.
Just about double
them. Yeah, Clemson outscored them 24-7 in the first half. Mm-hmm. They outscored Clemson 24-7 in the second half, except for the last second 56-yarder, and that's when they won the game. Yeah. They had up until the last seconds of the fourth quarter, they had blanked Clemson. Clemson hadn't scored a single point and Clemson scored 21 points in the first quarter. They scored 13 points the rest of the game, including again the longest field goal in their history. Yeah. So like they were up, like they were doing. You can't spot them 17 points.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's.
They might have almost. Clemson could have easily finished that game with 10 points.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you remember last year, Clemson was holding tryouts for their kicker in the middle of the season.
You're right.
So like,
you're right.
Yeah. So, all right, let's. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Tennessee.
Yeah.
This is
both really good teams, and that's the.
No, they're not. That's the problem. No, they're not.
No, neither of them.
Tennessee's not a good team. I don't care what anyone says. They're not a good team. I looked at it.
They play well.
No,
sometimes.
No, they haven't. I promise you, I've watched more Tennessee than you have.
That's fair, but how many big games have they played? Because I felt like I've watched the big ones.
They played one. They played against Georgia and they lost.
They've had one. They had two because didn't they beat Alabama?
No, that was no.
That was the Texas then.
No. I genuinely don't think they played anybody. Let me see. I'll pull it up.
Beat Alabama, bro.
No, it was Vanderbilt.
Yeah, there was another one. We had 3 L's. There was another one. One of them orange teams did it.
It wasn't Tennessee. Tennessee played. Oh, this is 2025. Hold on. I'll tell you right now. Tennessee played Chattanooga, NC State, Kent State, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Florida. Oh, they did. Sorry, you're right.
They beat Alabama. Yeah.
Alabama, my fault.
I was like, one of them orange teams beat us.
Mississippi State, Georgia, UTEP, and Vanderbilt. So here's the thing. If you look at the stats, they're like, oh my God, Tennessee has this great offense and this great defense and all of these kind of things. But if you actually look at their schedule, they beat Chattanooga 69-3. Nice. They beat NC State, a bad team, who 51-10, and then they beat our Kent State 71-0. And then they
Everybody has a bunch of those teams.
Yeah, and then they played UTEP and they won 56-0.
Yeah.
So in 4 games, they put up like 250 points.
Yeah.
So when you add that to the total, they're like, boom, 4th best offense. Yeah. But in SEC play, They only scored in the other 8 games, they only scored 30 points twice. Every other time they were under 28. They were 24, 17, 19, 14. Like their offense is being overblown
By
by
those 40.
71 points on Kent State. I watched a bunch of their games. They have a really good running back, but nobody runs the ball in Ohio State. Penn State didn't. Iowa didn't. Iowa has like the 3rd or 4th best running back in the country. They didn't. Like he got 50 yards against the backups. Otherwise, he would have had like 30 yards in that game. Like, fine. Their passing game is very, very hot and cold. So Ohio State has the best defense in the country. My point is, none of this matters. None of this matters. None of it matters at all because Ryan Day is the head coach. If Ryan Day was not the head coach, Ohio State wins easily. With Ryan Day being the head coach, Ohio State could still win easily, but I don't believe it because
This is early on in the playoffs, so I think Ohio State does get the W.
And that's how I feel. That's how I feel. I think Ryan Day is going to do the thing that he loves to do. He's going to have 3 weeks to prepare. He's going to have his best game plan all season. They're going to win like 45-17, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh my God, Ohio State's good again. Ohio State could beat Oregon," and then they're going to get blown out because they fucking hate me and they don't want me to be happy.
Now, how good is Tennessee's defense against the run? Because again, I'm.
So that's
what I want. I want to know what is their ranking against the run, because that'll let me know what Ryan Day is thinking.
That's a good question. Let me pull it up. So while I'm doing that, this is what I'll say. There's one advantage.
Y'all only ran the ball 12 times? Really? Against Michigan?
You want to talk about it?
And then threw the ball 33. So now I'm all right. So I'm going to be a little, because I know that was like the biggest problem that like y'all wasn't running the ball well and stuff like that. I don't think you tried. If I'm going to say the most amount of carries that came from out of that game was 12.
What is going on? This is just in the bowl games? Why the fuck is it showing me bowl games? I'm trying to see the season stats, and the NCAA stats is showing me stats for the 12 teams. This website is so bad.
Oh, it's terrible. It's one of the worst. It is one of the worst. I will give you that.
Oh my God.
Am I looking at this correctly?
I don't know.
Y'all only ran the ball at least with the running back with the most carries from that Michigan game had 12 carries for 46 yards. And I'm like,
no, but we have 2 running backs.
Right, but I'm saying the most carries was only 12. It's what I'm like, that can't be right.
So Tennessee is 8th in rushing defense.
Oh no. Oh no.
So here's the thing.
No. Is it what are they up the middle?
What do you mean?
Like, because Ryan Day likes to I can prove a point. Like, if you're really good up the middle, if you're really good stopping the run up the middle, I'm gonna do it regardless. I'm gonna do it regardless.
Thank you.
So that's why I'm asking. That's what I'm asking you. That's why I'm asking.
Dante, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Because
I'm gonna tell you what you want to hear.
Right. I'm looking at this. Right. I'm looking at this. You had Judkins 12 carries, and Henderson had 10. So 22 carries as a total. Michigan, one player had 32 carries, 3 carries, 4 carries. So that's what I'm saying, right? Are we gonna throw the ball 30-something times and not run the ball? Because you are a really great rushing team. Or because again, 12 carries is not enough from either player. But the problem is that you like to run the ball when you do, is right into the defense's strengths.
Yeah. So, you remember when I said
you said
Ryan Day's the head coach?
Yeah, because again, 8th, you still played the SEC, and you 8th.
All right, so hold on. This is what. Oh God, I hate talking about this football team. If I wanted to be positive, this is what I'll say.
This is going to be the best.
Ohio State has played. No.
Best state.
Ohio State has played the number 1,
Mm-hmm.
Indiana, the number 3, Michigan, the number 9, Penn State, and the number 10, Nebraska. Ohio State's played all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They played 4 top 10 rushing defenses.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa's 26, Oregon's 35.
Okay.
So, and Northwestern's 38. So they played 4 top 10 and 7 top 40 rushing defenses.
Okay.
So in theory, they rush the ball well against all of them. It's definitely Michigan, definitely not Michigan. And
Penn State, I feel like
Nebraska.
One of those, I was gonna say, was it?
They ran the ball good against Penn State.
Indiana?
Was it Indiana? No, I think it's Nebraska. Okay. I think it's Nebraska is the one that they didn't run the ball good against. So if I want to be positive, I'm going to say
now hold on.
Already played this, but I never want to be positive.
Okay, hold on. So, all right, I don't think Ryan Day sees Penn State as a big game. I don't think so. I don't think that he sees it as a big game. Michigan is a big game. This is a big game, and I've seen what he's done and stuff like this, especially now. I think this might be the most pressurized games he's probably had to coach.
I don't think so.
Really?
I mean,
you just lost a.
Yeah, but he's coached the national championship.
No, I give you that. You're not wrong. But was it 4 in a row now? You just came off your 4th straight loss to Michigan. You didn't play in the Big Ten championship game, and now you're going up against Tennessee in the playoff, and you're not really. People could see you losing this game, and understand why y'all would lose this game next to the national championship game. Yes, this might, as in when I say it's the most pressurized, because your job is truly, I think, this might be the hottest seat of he's ever coached in. Should be.
Nope.
Oh my God.
Here's the thing, Dante. Let me tell you something. You're not an Ohio State fan.
You're right.
Everything you just said is how I feel times a million because I'm an Ohio State fan.
Okay.
The problem is the athletic director has twice doubled down.
Fuck, you're right.
Doubled down. He said it once, and if he does it once, he could be lying. If he does it once, and he's like, "Yeah, he's going to be our coach," he could be lying. When he does it a second time, 2 weeks later, for no reason, Ryan Day's not getting fired.
Oh my God, I wish he did. I hope he does.
I think I said this, maybe not on this podcast, but I've said it to people. I don't think he's going to fire him this year because it's his first year at Ohio State, and I think he wants to get the lay of the land, and he's a little gun shy because of how the Jimbo Fisher thing worked at Texas A&M, and I know I said this. I did say this. He wants to say, like, but I wasn't the AD. I'm going to upgrade this. I'm going to give him these resources. I can make him win because Ryan Day's a really good guy. So I think the AD is going to be like, all right, but this is my first year. Now I'm fully in control. I'm going to upgrade the stadium. I'm going to give him this. I'm going to give him that. And he's going to fix it.
So do you want to know?
I don't think it's that hot of a seat.
Okay.
From the fans it is, but I don't think it really is.
Okay. So that might be even more scary. That might be scarier.
Thank you.
Being comfortable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we spent all of this time, and all we talked about is Ryan Day. Because if you're on the field, Ohio State should win.
Yeah, they should win. I think it's still I think it's a good game, and I think it's a close game because, again, you're still coached by who you're coached, and and again, I say Will Howard in a big game will give you one. He gonna give you one. Probably 2. He did it in Penn State. He did it in Michigan.
Penn State, he only gave 1. Michigan, I still think he was concussed. He was concussed. I can't believe they let him play that game. He was concussed. But Yeah. So
Well,
it was
he'll
his
give you
last game.
one. He
It
will
was
give you
he
one.
will absolutely give you one. And I hope he does it early. I just don't do it late. I hope
It's
it does it
usually
early so
early.
we can
It's
I
usually
do it.
early.
If it's early, we can recover.
Yeah,
It's when it comes
but
late
he
that
will.
there's a problem.
That's why I
It
think.
was
But like sometimes something like this type of game, I see too. And you know what it is? It's not going to be 2 picks. I'm not saying 2 picks. It's a fumble. I
he
can see a
hasn't fumbled.
fumble.
I don't think
I
he's
could,
fumbled all year.
and that's why it'll
I'm
be
not
this
gonna give it to him.
game. It'll be this
Dante,
game.
I already feel bad
Yo,
enough about this. I'm not
and
gonna
I was
give
about
you
to
that one.
say,
I'm sorry.
and a
already
lot of your fans have given up on him. I know what you really want at behind quarterback. I know what he's supposed to look like behind quarterback. You don't want a Will Howard. Justin Fields, yeah. Yeah.
look.
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
off-season conversation.
Yeah.
Because
I know what you really want behind there.
You really do be a Columbus boy. Because I'm telling you, Ohio State didn't have these problems when the quarterback was black.
I know. No, I've been paying it. Do you know how many of y'all I'm friends with?
All of you, like
I'm
probably all
from
your
here. I'm
friends.
from
All
Ohio.
your
Like
friends, yeah,
I'm from
all your
Ohio.
friends.
I
Yeah.
see the same tweet over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Brandon has one that he retweets that's from like August. Like
listen, I'm just saying. We ain't had these problems when the quarterback was black. When we went,
that's not fully true though.
Hey. No, Ohio State doesn't have no juice. We at least had juice.
Your first 2 L's came with a black quarterback.
When we went from Troy Smith to Terrell Pryor to JT Barrett to Cardell Jones to Dwayne Haskins to Justin Fields to CJ Stroud.
CJ, yeah, it stopped with CJ.
Hey.
CJ was your last black quarterback.
Hey.
In y'all eyes, at least he lost the game twice, and he didn't care about it.
That is true and not true. CJ played great in both of those games.
No, you know what I mean by that.
But he did not care about it.
Yeah.
And that'll always stay in his legacy. He did not care about it. But that's a Ryan Day problem. Everything is it's all a Ryan Day problem. He's a fucking loser. All right. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think Ohio State wins the game. I really do. I wouldn't even be surprised if they blow him out. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Honestly, I'm telling you right now, for no reason other than it's the most painful thing that can happen to Ohio State fans. They're going to win this game 45-17.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to jump back on the bandwagon. Everyone's going to remind themselves that they only lost to Oregon by 1 point. Oregon has taken a couple of players from Ohio State. Oregon has all the juice right now. Mm-hmm. So there's this like budding rivalry between Ohio State and Oregon fans because Ohio State seems like they're declining and Oregon seems like they're coming up and Oregon won the Big Ten. And it's going to be this whole thing and everyone's going to convince themselves that Ohio State is back, that Ryan Day only has a Michigan problem. Again, all you're going to see is they only lost by one. And then Oregon's going to win by 17 points.
Problem. Why is it the Michigan problem when we've seen him lose in the play? We've seen him lose in the play because they lost right at New Year's. I'm never gonna forget that.
They played well in all the playoff games that they lost. This is not me defending him. I will never.
They still lose him.
Dante, who are you talking to? Mm-hmm. I get it. I want him fired. I'm telling you what's gonna happen. They're gonna blow him out. All the fans are going to be on the bandwagon. They're going to remind themselves that they only lost by 1, that they played really well. They're going to say, oh, he just can't beat Michigan. They're going to see, but the national championship, they're going to be hyped. They're going to be like, we can get some revenge on Oregon. We're going to do it. And then Oregon's going to come, and they're going to beat them by 17 because it is the most crushing thing that'll happen. And then the AD will come out and say,
he's still going to be the coach next year.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's my thing, right? I do think Ohio State takes the win. What I think might actually happen is that y'all actually lose this game. And I think it might be bad because I think it might be like an avalanche type of thing. I think my thing is like I see either team losing and none of them making it close. I think it's an avalanche thing either way. And I can see for some odd reason it truly
it's not an odd reason. It's because Ryan Day's the head coach. Yeah, because there's no reason that Tennessee beats us outside of Ryan Day being a fucking idiot. He's a loser. He has no juice. That's it.
It wouldn't surprise me if Tennessee gets this win and it's by like 17 to 20 points. And you're like, what happened?
I'm not gonna ask what
And
happened.
then,
I know what
well,
happened. Ryan Day happened.
commentators like that. I also see Ohio State losing this game, going down bad early, coming back, and then losing in a heartbreaking way. I see both. I think Ohio State gets the win, but I can see Tennessee winning this game in two different ways. I only see Ohio State winning this in a blowout. I do think Ohio State gets the win, though.
I don't know, Dante.
I do.
I just want this fucking dude gone, bro.
But it's
so
not like Tennessee hasn't been a heartbreaker already this year. So with one big name school, so yeah.
The only thing that I'm gonna say, I think Ohio State's defense is too good for Tennessee to blow them out.
Fair.
I think,
and that's why I think the offense does it. I think the offense gives the defense points.
I don't think so. I don't think that's gonna happen. Like, I get why you think that. It's just Will Howard has been much better than people think. I think he was concussed against Michigan. He cost Ohio State points against Penn State. He absolutely did. But I also think like he was trying to prove something against Penn State because he's from Pennsylvania and they didn't recruit him. So he was like super hyped.
Why can't you say the same thing for that Michigan game and also this game as well? I'll give you the concussion thing too, but I could also
because I don't think the
proving point.
I don't think he needs to prove anything against Tennessee. I don't think any of them need to prove anything against Tennessee.
You gotta it's about winning a playoff game.
Right. But I don't think,
especially since it's prove it and then go to Oregon. Especially if you're looking past Tennessee too. That's if you're looking towards Oregon.
So here's the thing. When you talk about Ohio State's Ryan Day's Ohio State, right?
Mm-hmm.
The things that you are saying could happen have never happened except against Michigan.
Okay.
They have played well in every bowl game against everyone else, against Oregon, against Bama, against Georgia, all of these things. They've been in these games. They've done these things. They've lost.
Well, I mean, they were technically in the game against Michigan too.
Most of the weird things that you're talking about happen against Michigan. So I have a hard time unless Ryan Day just totally short circuits, which hopefully he does because then he gets fired. Unless he just short circuits, I can't think he
gets fired if he loses this game.
It would have to be the blowout that you're talking about.
Fair.
If they get blown out, they just don't show up 3 weeks to prepare, and they get blown out. I think he might.
Okay.
It's just a lot of the a lot of the things that you're talking about just don't happen except against Michigan. And I think they'll happen against Oregon because he's going to super hype it because that they lost by 1. Mm-hmm. Tennessee doesn't carry that. Like, I get it's a playoff game, but Ryan Day's been to the national championship before. This is not the biggest game that he's played in.
I was going to say he loses
Tennessee game.
He's lost early too. That's what I'm saying. He's lost early in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, but the early was to Clemson, and then the next year he blew him out, and to Georgia, and they missed the field goal. Like that. Like, he's only been blown out once, and it was against Alabama.
Yeah, I don't really think a blow is going to happen. I do think this is going to be. I think it's going to be a close game. I could see the kicker for Ohio State missing, and that's the reason.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
if they're going to lose the game, I think it's going to be the Michigan game, or it's going to be the Georgia game where the
kicker just misses points that should be on the board.
Yes, but they're not going to get blown out. The defense is too good, and so that's why I say it's on Ryan Day, because if they lose, it's going to be he's going to settle for a field goal like he did against Michigan, and the kicker misses, or they're going to put themselves in a place where they need to kick to win the game like Georgia, but because he hasn't valued special teams, the kicker's going to miss. Like, that's how I see them losing this game.
Because that's truly kind of, I mean, that's not the full reason why they lost to Michigan, but missed field goals is.
But it is. They missed 2 field goals. They lost by 3.
Yeah.
That still would have been an ugly, and they missed 2 field goals inside of 40 yards. Like it
Hmm.
still would have been an ugly coached game, but with just an average kicker, they still win. And then
Hmm.
we get to bitch and complain and say that was a horrible game plan, but they won. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't missing. He missed two 30-yard kicks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like
That should be
ultimately, we
simple for
did lose because of the kicking. We lost because Ryan Day believed in a kicker he shouldn't.
you. Hmm.
And so the things that you're talking about outside of Michigan, Ryan Day typically basically only loses games because of kicking. Because even the Oregon game was because of kicking. Because if they had a good kicker, let's say for example they had Michigan's kicker, they were in field goal range. We weren't in field goal range because we don't trust our kicker outside of 40. So they
Hmm.
ran another play to try to get it to like 42, and the time ran out. If they had a real kicker, they could have ran the ball up the middle, got 2-3 yards, kicked a 50 to 51 yarder, and won the game. So
Yeah.
even the Oregon game is lost because of
Or at least attempted it.
right, but they couldn't even attempt it because
Yeah.
the kicker can't make a 38 yarder. So even the Oregon game is lost because of kicking. I think it's a heartbreak Georgia Oregon type loss. They kick a 50-yarder that we can't make, or we miss a couple kicks,
Hmm.
or Ohio State wins. I think that's the only way it happens because, unfortunately, outside of Michigan, that's the only way that Ryan Day loses. He loses because he doesn't value kicking, and he settles, and the kicker misses. He does something weird, and the kicker is
He makes weird play calls. You gotta that has to be
he
admitted.
makes weird play. He makes
He
weird
makes
play
a
calls that
lot of weird
lead
play calls,
to the yeah.
even if you're like they're playing well, like it's weird play calls. Because again, I've seen them run the ball well, but they when it's up the middle, especially against good teams that stop runners up the middle, they do stop you. Once you start doing this though, sometimes it gets a little better, and like
But the problem is they don't do that enough. They get
yeah.
stuck on trying to prove something up the middle.
Prove a point, yeah, prove a point up the middle, and it's like I don't know why. And then at that point, it's like you do have the better receivers, and then even
Just throw to him.
mhm. And even then, it's still weird because they threw the ball 33 times.
But they didn't throw to the receivers. Like they did. They didn't like. And we're running too long on this. We'll give up. But one of the things, like you look at the stats, like damn, they threw 33 times, but they weren't using their advantages.
Hmm.
They were throwing a lot of short routes. And if you
That's
remember,
true. That is true.
if
There
you
was
if
a
you,
lot of screens and stuff. Yep.
yes, and if you remember, like I'm telling you, like 6 times on third down, and that's where the second interception came from. 6 times on third down, they did the same thing. They took a Emeka Egbuka, they ran him across the formation, whichever direction. He ran to the line of to the sticks and turned around and they threw him the ball. They did it 6 times. Five
Mm.
times it worked. The sixth time they intercepted the ball because they knew it was coming because they didn't do anything else. So it's just like even then they were throwing the ball, but they weren't throwing it like in the beginning of the game, they threw the Carnell Tate 18 yards, 20 yards, back to back plays. They threw to Jeremiah Smith. He either caught it or he got 2 pass interferences, back to back plays. And then they just started throwing the ball within 5 yards. So like they threw it, but they weren't throwing to their playmakers. They weren't doing the thing that worked, like Jeremiah Smith, either catching everything or getting a pass interference every single time because Michigan couldn't guard him.
Hmm.
So like the numbers were deceiving in that because they were throwing screens and 5 yard stop routes and stuff like that. And eventually Michigan just started sitting on them. And that's what led to that second interception. I don't think that interception was on Will Howard as much as it was on the coach
Hmm.
because you ran that play 6 times. And even in the video game, if you run the same play 6 times, they intercept it.
Yeah, they'll get you. They'll get you.
Like they put that AI in the video game that if you keep running the same play on third down, they're gonna intercept it. It happens all the time. And Ryan Day just literally the same play. Emeka Egbuka starts on the right, he runs left. If it's 3rd and 5, he runs right. He runs left. He runs a 6-yard stop. If it's 3rd and 2, he's on the left. He motions right, 3-yard route. Like they did it 6 times. It worked 5, and the last time they intercepted it. So we talked a lot about that game. I don't think we got anywhere except that if Ryan Day does not get in his own way, they win.
Yeah, they're gonna
But
win
it's
the game.
Ryan Day, so you can't predict that he won't.
Yeah, I think Ohio State does still win this game. I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee pulls it out in a heartbreaking fashion. And you're just
So,
like, what the absolute hell?
yep, my prediction. What did I say? I had
I don't know.
and I had Ohio State winning 31-20.
Okay.
And I want to say this, and then we can get off of here. We talked a lot. We did not give enough respect to Ohio State's defense,
Yeah.
and ultimately, I think they win the game because of the defense.
And I'm saying that's why I was like, I don't think I don't think it's gonna be a big game for real. I don't think that blowout actually happens. I was just, that's for the funds, that's for the
Yeah.
funnies. But if
And if you
Tennessee,
give Jim Knowles 3 weeks, he might do some crazy things.
he could do some things with, he could do some. He's scary. That's why I was like,
Yeah.
I think Tennessee can really pull out this win. And you like you just said, it would be outcoached. You got outcoached. And
It's the only way I think they can lose.
mm-hmm. And it's really been your way of losing is getting outcoached.
Because Ryan is a fucking loser.
Yeah. So I can see Tennessee's winning. I do think Ohio State does get the win. I don't think it's by 11. I think it's just by 7. But yeah, I can. If Tennessee wins that game, it's gonna be it'll be something silly like 21-20 because of missed field goals.
Yeah, you get it. You get it.
Or 24-20 because of a missed field goal. So you have to go for the touchdown and it just doesn't happen. I can see that. I can see that happening.
If anyone has been listening to this podcast for like 3 or 4 years, I just want you to think of what Dante used to say to me every time I would talk bad about Ohio State, and then just recognize that he's been leading this conversation about Ohio State for the last like month. And this is Ryan Day's America. Even Dante, who's not an Ohio State fan, no longer believes in Ohio State. That is grounds to fire him right there. I could pull any Ohio State episode from 2 years ago, and you hear Dante laugh at me and Brandon and call us stupid and call us spoiled.
Like, y'all were.
And now listen to him.
Y'all were still spoiled.
Hey, Dante.
Listen. The
never
Michigan
wrong,
loss,
just early.
It was
never wrong, just early.
It was
never wrong.
It was this
early.
Michigan loss. It was legit this Michigan loss where I was like, oh my god, oh no.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, this was not the one you were supposed to lose. Like and my thing was just like, all right, like you assume you're gonna assume we're gonna and be safe in assuming that you were cheated out of the 2 L's. Or maybe 1, at least 2. You lost last year, and that wasn't you didn't get cheated out of that one. And this one, there is no cheating, and you're just that much better.
Yeah.
and you still lost that one. So
the answer is Ryan Day.
That's why I was like, oh, I don't know. Because even then it was like certain play calls in the Oregon game. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yes.
What are you doing?
Yep.
Yeah. In the Penn State game. Yeah. What are you doing? And there was play calls on defense. I was like, what are you doing? What is this play? Thank God you got all those athletes. What are you doing?
Yeah. All right. We both have Ohio State. I have 31-20. You did not give a score, but
I don't think I gave a score for any.
This is going to be such a miserable game to watch for me. Anyways, as
unless
you all know,
they blow them out, and you're going to be like half happy, half mad.
Yep. I won't be happy again till Ryan Day is gone. So catch me in 20. Well, let's.
What if they win a national championship for real?
That'll do it. And if they win a national championship, I'm definitely tweeting that meme. It's like when the worst person you know made a good point. It's like touche, Ryan Day, touche. Because now you're gonna get a 5-year extension and piss me off for the next 4 years.
He'll get the 5-year extension. He'll get a 5-year extension, lose to Michigan 2 more times.
Yes.
And then when he's out, he'll win on his way out. He'll win those last 3 on his way out.
Whatever he can do to piss me off, whatever he can do to make Ohio State fans miserable. That is his goal in life. As you all know, this is the I-80 football show. We are traveling down I-80, so we end the show with our pit stop. Pit stop is where we get a chance to talk about something that's not football related, that's not Big Ten related. Sometimes it's football, but at least not Big Ten related. This is our break from our road trip. Are you changing yours?
No, I'm just not gonna do it because mine's gonna be way too long.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I got one for you. It'll make you happy. So mine's very quick. The Yankees landed Max Fried. Uh, he's a starting pitcher. They landed Devin Williams, who is a closing pitcher, and they landed Cody Bellinger, who's an outfielder and first baseman. The Yankees are trying to play baseball again. I don't know if it's going to matter because the Yankees are also coached by Ryan Day,
Fuck the
but it is
Yankees.
good
Fuck the Jets.
to see. It is good to see them at least
No, it's
try.
not. No, it's not.
Um, do you want to know the pit stop that I have for you?
Yeah, what's up?
So, for a very long time, we did like a 20-minute pit stop on it. It was believed that Cleveland was going to get the next soccer team, and we did the whole where the stadium is going to be and
Oh
dive
yeah,
into
yeah,
it
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
like traffic and everything's going to suck.
It's gonna be
And then
awful.
out of absolutely nowhere, the reporting is now that they think the team's going to Denver. So,
Oh, that sucks.
yeah. Oh, I thought
That
you were going to
actually.
be. Yeah, I thought
No,
you
no,
were
no,
going
no,
to
no.
do
I wasn't that mad about the traffic. Like it's terrible. Don't get me wrong, but to have a women's soccer team in Cleveland would have been dope. Like that would
yeah.
have been cool. That would.
So now the hope is that Cleveland gets the WNBA team because they are still in the running for that. Anything could happen.
We've already had one too. Like
Yeah,
so, we might as
yep.
well. That
But
actually sucks about
the hope is
that soccer
that
team.
but I don't know. And that's the
We
thing.
have soccer here. Like I don't.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Everyone was Cleveland, Cincinnati, Caitlin Clark joined the Cincinnati one. Like we were basically like it's gonna be in Ohio. Those are the top two. And then the thing
I still would have put it in
most
Columbus
recently,
anyway because you already
yeah.
have a stadium.
Yep, and then the thing that I've seen most recently is that it's supposed to go to Denver. So I don't know.
Boo.
Right? So
Boo. They'll have an advantage though, but boo.
Yeah, we are still waiting for women's sports to come to Ohio. But as always, thank you for listening. Enjoy this weekend of games. We will talk to you the day after Christmas, so enjoy your holiday with your family and friends. And
Yep.
yeah, we'll catch you next week. Hopefully, God, it is such a good thing that I'm a normal person. Otherwise, Ryan Day might ruin my Christmas.
Yeah.
Good thing that my actual life is good because if I was really as crazy about as Ohio State as I seem, like if I let it affect me emotionally, oh my God. Anyways, don't let your NFL team, your basketball, don't let any sports ruin your Christmas.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. This Steelers season, this Steelers team might ruin my Christmas. I ain't gonna lie.
Damn.
I have listen, I don't know if you've been watching us. We're sneaky. We're legit sneaky. And a lot of people do not believe in us and we just keep pulling out wins. I think we could have.
Big one.
This is going to be a big one. I think we're going to give Kansas up this one. Yes. I don't know why I'm thinking about Christmas. You're right. This one. Yes. I think we beat Baltimore. I do. I think Baltimore has more slippage than people really notice. And I think people do not give as much credit to our team than we actually deserve. I think we are truly maybe the third, maybe fourth best team in the AFC.
Hire a black coach, ladies and gentlemen. He'll never have a losing season. Anyways, thank you for
especially when they say we were supposed to. They keep saying it every year, every single season. And I with this schedule, I give you that. Especially with this ending. But Cincinnati stinks on defense. The Browns ended up being terrible. And
that's what you get for supporting a rapist.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kansas City is vulnerable. Here's the thing about this, right? Kansas City, because I think we can win the Baltimore game. And don't get me wrong, that is a game on my mind. I can't wait for Saturday. But to finish up on Christmas against Kansas City, both these
teams on Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm. But for both
open
of those
the presents first.
Both of those teams find ways to win close games, and both of those teams do not put up a lot of points. And I'm going to tell you this much: I believe in the Steelers' defense than I do Kansas City's, especially to stop the run and get after the quarterback. So I think we could win on Christmas. They'll probably ruin my Christmas, but I think we could win on Christmas. I also think we clinch the division on Saturday. I think we do, and I don't even think, and then to top it off, we probably just beat Cincinnati just because.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank y'all for listening. We'll catch you next week. Merry Christmas to all, and don't let Ryan Day ruin your holidays.